Hello children, how are you? I hope that everybody are fine and safe staying at your home. This is your Saubhagya madam and I am back with another new session about what do animals eat. So children, in our last videos we were discussing about the different types of foods that the animals are eating and also the different mode of eating the food. So children, in this session let us learn more about the other small animals which are eating the food in their own way. So children, we know that many animals hunt the food like the carnivores. Yes, and there are few animals like herbivores which collect the food from the surroundings. Okay, in this lesson we are going to learn about the small animals which eat the food in a different way. So let us discuss about them. Getting food without hunting. So children, all the animals do not hunt for food. There are few exceptions or few animals. There are few animals which are having a special adaptation of eating the food. Okay children. See, let us discuss about the small animals like ducks. Okay. So what are these ducks? The ducks are small birds which mostly live in the waters. Okay. So what is the food they are eating? They eat fish. Yes, children. So here these ducks search for the fish and they eat. And do you know children, the ducks also contain teeth like other animals? Okay. But here the teeth are not used for cutting or tearing the food material, but they are used for filtering the food material. So here the eating habit of the duck is to catch the fish, and they eat the food. Okay. Here the here the teeth of the duck are not used for cutting or tearing, but are useful for just catching the prey and just swallowing the prey. In the same way, if you take the fish, we know the fish are available in smaller size or in a larger size. You have different kinds of fish and different sized fish. If you see a large fish like a blue whale, it grows around 30 to 40 meters in length and also it weighs around many tons in weight. So children, so what kind of food does this fish eat? Yes, even the blue whale eats the fish itself. Okay, it depends upon the smaller fishes that are around it. Does it chew the food like other animals? No. It catch the little fish with a single gulp. Okay. So this gulping of the fish will help the fish to swallow the food into its stomach directly. Do you know the fish also have teeth? Yes, the fish also have teeth. But the teeth here are not used for cutting or chewing the food, but they are only used for filtering the food which enters into its mouth. Okay, children. We move on to the other animals. If you go to a pond, you can find such animals there. If you see the habitat near a pond, you can find very tiny animals there. Though they are not big in size, but they are living things which definitely need food to eat. For example, like the leeches, jalagalu అని అంటారు తెలుగులో. So these leeches are special animals which depend on other animals for food by sucking. పీల్చడం. Sucking is పీల్చడం. So they don't have any special organs like mouth, tongue or teeth. But they are having suckers so that by using those suckers, they absorb the food material from the other animals. Okay. The leeches which generally live in the water areas, especially near the rivers or ponds, what they do? Whenever they find another big living thing like goats or buffaloes which come for drinking water in the ponds or rivers, So these leeches will attach to the skin of these animals, and by using the suckers, they suck the blood of these animals. Okay, children. They suck the blood of these animals and take the blood as their food. Okay. And also there are few other animals which also use the same method of eating food. Okay. Those are nothing but the snails and the earthworms. The snails and the earthworms. Even the snails are also having are not having special uh, food eating body parts, but they also have suckers like the leeches, and the earthworms are also having sucker-like structure in its body, so that they depend upon the other animals or on the food material which is uh, around them. So examples are leeches, snails and earthworms. They suck the food material. Their mode of eating is sucking the food material through the sucking organ, like the sucker. ఇట్లా పీల్చుకోవడానికి వీలుగా ఉండే ఒక మౌత్ ఆర్గాన్ లాంటిది ఉంటుంది, సో దట్ దే కెన్ suck the food material into their body. Okay, children. Okay, now let us discuss about the animals called as nocturnal animals. What it is, children? Nocturnal animals. Animals which move only during night time. So what are these nocturnal animals, children? They search the food, or they are very active, especially during the night time. Such animals are called as nocturnal animals. Do you know any of such animals, children? Yes. The small little cockroach which lives in our home is a nocturnal animal. Okay. We can see them only during the night time when there is complete darkness. They come out of their hiding places in search of the food. If you want, please check at your homes. Okay. There are few other animals also which are nocturnal. Examples like crickets, desert lizards, rats, owls, bats, moths, etc. So children, all these animals like cockroaches, crickets, desert lizards, rats, owls or bats, what is their main work? They stay in the hibernation, or they stay in the nest during the daylight. Whatever the habitat they are living in, they hide during the daylight, and they come out of that only during the night time, so that they can find their prey in the darkness. These animals have some special modifications to identify the prey even during the night. Why? Because during the night we don't have such sunlight. Okay. Uh, so they have some special modifications in their bodies so that they can easily find out the prey. Okay, children. Now, so after now we were discussing about the different sized animals, very small, little small, a little bigger and bigger animals. But do you observe, children, here each and every animal have a specific method of eating their food. Some hunt the food, some search the food, some catch the food, and some are sucking the food. Yes. Some animals are finding their food during the darkness. So every animal have their own special way of searching for the food and eating it. Some animals use teeth, some animals use tongue, some animals use their teeth, tongue, mouth and the legs or the limbs to catch the food. So every animal use its special modification in searching of the food or in eating of the food. And we also know that in the nature, all the living things are interdependent. What is, children? Interdependent means one animal depends on the other animal or the plant. Do you know, children? Living things include both plants and animals. Living things include both plants and animals. So, each animal have their own way of eating. As we have learned in our earlier videos, we are having three categories of animals or living things: carnivores, herbivores and omnivores. So each and every animal are interdependent on each other. Some eat plants, some eat little animals, or the bigger animals depend on the smaller animals, and some kind of animals eat both plants and animals. Okay, so to know more about the interdependency of the animals, we need to learn about food chain. Okay, the food chain is nothing but a large web-like structure which can show you the connection of dependency of the animals on other animals or animals on the plants. So let us now discuss about the food chain. Okay, children. Okay, so what is a food chain? The nature itself have maintained a great balance in nature so that it can maintain all the living things in a particular stage. See, if you have more amount of animals and less plants, what happens? So definitely we cannot survive. Why? Because plants are the main source of oxygen to all the living things. If you don't have plants, if all the animals or especially the herbivores will eat away all the plants, what happens? The oxygen levels will fall down and there will be a collapse in the nature. And imagine one more situation. If there are only plants and there are no animals, so what will happen? So there is an imbalance in the nature. If only big animals are present like the carnivores and no herbivores are present, what happens? So children, as we were reading that the carnivores, herbivores and the omnivores are present along with the scavengers. Yes, if all the plants and animals are dead, there is no scavenger, then what happens? Who will eat away the dead and decaying plants? What happens to the nature? There will be a total imbalance in the nature. So to maintain a proper balance in the nature, we have to learn about the food chain. Here, the chain the chain connects one animal to the other based upon their fooding habits. Okay, we know that the herbivores like goats or cows are being eaten by the bigger animals like the carnivores. Yes, these plants and the small animals are also eaten by the omnivores. Right, children? So these omnivores, when they are dead, the scavengers eat the omnivores, herbivores and the carnivores so that the nature will become clean. So each and every animal or each and every living thing is interdependent on other living thing so that there is a proper balance in the nature. So children, this proper balance is being set by the food chain. The food chain explains us about the balance that is maintained by the nature to survive. It helps the living things to survive. Okay. So let us see an example so that you can understand what is this food chain. Okay. Example, when you take a surrounding like a pond, what does the pond have? The pond have complete water. In that we have small fishes, frogs, small little insects, animals like ducks or cranes. Yes? Okay. If you see that surrounding or a habitat, for example, we take the small insects lay eggs or larvae. Yes, the small insects lay the eggs. The eggs are converted into larvae. They are very tiny. These larvae or the eggs are being eaten by the small animals like frogs or the fish which is living in the water. Okay, children. These fish or frogs are being eaten by the animals like ducks or cranes, pongal. Have you seen that? In the other case, these ducks or the cranes are being eaten by the fox or little small animals like carnivores. Okay. When these carnivores come to drink some water near the pond, they try to eat these little animals or the birds like the cranes or the ducks. And these fox are indeed are a kind of carnivores which are living in the forest. So ultimately, the tigers or the lions which eat other animals, so definitely try to kill these fox and eat them. Okay. And once these tigers or any animal is dead, the scavengers like the vultures eat the dead and decaying animals. Yes, children. So if you go on like this, in each and every case, we are observing that one is depending upon the other. Here the fox is depending upon the small animals like cranes or ducks. And these ducks or cranes are depending upon the smaller animals like frogs or fish. And these animals are again dependent on the smaller animals like larvae or the egg. Okay, children. So what do you see? Here we see a chain of reactions going on showing the interdependency of the animals. See, children, this is just an example. We can take different habitats and we can write greater food chains. So the food chain explains you about the interdependency of the animals on the different kinds of foods they eat. Okay. And not only it doesn't go in a chain manner, it also has some variations like this. Okay. So it creates a web-like structure. Means ఒకదాంతో ఒకటి కలుపుకుంటూ దీన్ని అట్లా కలుపుకుంటూ ఒక పెద్ద స్పైడర్ వెబ్ లాగా ఫామ్ అయిపోతుంది. So the food chain will include all the animals into its long chain. Okay, children. So children, I hope that you have understood what are the different habits of the living things based upon their eating habit. Okay. And also what you have understood by the food chain. So children, that's all for this video, and try to read the textbook part so that you will understand more easily about the interdependency of the animals on each other and also about the food chains. By the end of the video, I'll give you a writing part regarding the food chain by taking few examples. Okay, children. So that's all for this video. Stay home, stay safe. This is your Saubhagya Madam signing off. Thank you. So children, here is an example of one kind of food chain where the producers are the plants and the grasshopper is the primary consumer which depend upon the plants, and the frog is a secondary consumer which eat the grasshopper, and the snake is the tertiary consumer which is depending upon the frog, and now the owl is the final consumer which eats the snake. And when all these are dead, they are decomposed by the decomposers. Okay. So children, again these decomposers help in reproduction of the producers. So here if you see the chain, there are 3 stages of consumers and one primary consumer and a decomposer and a producer. So you can take any example and you can form a food chain. Okay, children. So that you will understand what are the things that are going on. Okay.